Black Friday meets Mission Impossible in a world both surreal and familiar. The series is called Nothing Like a Good Book with Mark Bishop. Welcome. And I do ask you, what would happen if everyone on Earth had everything they wanted? How does our materialistic and consumer-driven society shape our humanity? Well, if this present civilization of seemingly endless economic growth ended, what would humanity become? Debut author Phil Granchi utilizes satire to explore these questions and more in his new release, Mart of Darkness, a comic dystopian thriller that invites thrillers to both laugh and reflect on the state of the world. So welcome to the Mark Bishop Show, Phil.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Your book explores these questions through the eyes of its protagonist, Ted Kay, who's a slacker, wannabe screenwriter, who survives on temp jobs, Phil. He sounds like a winner, mate.
Well, there's a little bit of him in me, of course, I have to say. No doubt about that.
Well, no real marketable skills, not much writing talent. Apparently, he finds himself accidentally assigned to a government special forces unit. What's that about?
So he, of course, he lied on his resume, which we learn later in the book, and that won't reveal too much. But and then because of that, he gets selected for this top secret mission, which needs a temp for a particular set of special skills, which of course he doesn't have. So he's on for the ride, and he's in way too deep, and comedy and drama ensue.
Well, it's the mission itself, from what I read, is to neutralize. This is a hard name, this one. McAllistetti. He's the CEO. Yeah. What is it again?
McAllistetti. Right.
That'll do, yeah. Okay, Italian, right?
Well, so he's a mashup. Yeah, he's an American mashup, like so many of us, right?
Right.
So there's that in there too.
But he's the CEO of All Mart, okay, which has lost touch with reality and is plotting to take down the world's economy. Okay, so he goes on where he's bewildered, terrified. This John Kelly fellow of Detroit Free Press, he gives you 5 stars. He writes that author Phil Granchi transports us into the surreal world of modern-day consumerism in this wildly and darkly comic, dystopian sci-fi thriller. And you're going to laugh out loud throughout this journey into the Mart of Darkness, in which we see the manifestation of shopping gone wild in a world that looks a good deal like our own. Now, decent credit for you, Phil. Before you give us much more of the story, that's a nice write-up there.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have it. All I did was write the book, and we put it out there, and we see what happens. But so far, I'm happy that people seem to be really getting where I was going. I wanted to go to a dark place and explore it, but do it with fun, and I thought with interesting characters.
Okay, so let's get into it a little now. You can share it all with us, crossing hundreds of square miles, zombie shoppers, purple poncho people, converts. Heavens above, blacklight blowouts, peril lurks in the aisles as they cross an inland sea of closeout DVDs and so on. Okay, go for it. Share, my friend. What the heck am I talking about?
Well, so it all started with a temp job that I had quite a while ago in a direct marketing agency, and these were brilliant people, really creative. And when you're selling credit cards to people, one of the buzzwords that they use is this concept of buying power, as if there's this mystical force that can embody us and give us power in the universe. And I thought, well, how far can that go? So I imagined this idea in which a store went on across all of North America, and there's a CEO decides that he wants to save humanity by taking, and I put all those ideas together, and it's called Allmart.
Okay, and now when I say peril lurks in the aisles as they cross an inland sea of closeout DVDs,
right.
Aptly name the video ocean and snake through the wild canyon of 55-gallon drums of pickles, known as Gherkin Gorge, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Imagination plus here. Okay, go on.
So the idea is my first degree was in geology, and of course geologists extrapolate, deeply back in time, and I wanted to extrapolate forward in time, and we all see in marketing, everyone's gone into your favorite big box store and seen a giant display for a new cell phone or a new computer, and I thought, how far is this going to go? How rapidly can this grow? So I thought, People want to sell DVDs. How far are they going to go to sell us DVDs and movies? Well, they're going to create an ocean. And you go into your other big box store with bulk sales, and you find big jars of pickles. How big are they going to get? 55-gallon drums. I predict within a couple of years you'll be able to get. So this is what I wanted to say. What do these promotional displays look like? And they're vast. They're huge. They're carnivals. They're theme parks of commercialism. That's what they are.
Well, as a comic retelling of Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, with proper homage to Apocalypse Now, the team is progressively downsized through a series of tragic and comedic mishaps. And with the team growing smaller and unaccountable obstacles in their path, can they make it to the mezzanine and their meeting with Allmart's senior management? Will they be able to complete their mission? And what role does Kay, with his special skills, well, lack thereof, if you want, what does he have to play and what waits for them? What happens there?
Well, so it's a trope, but a much used and very important trope of any, I think, special forces. I mean, you could look to any dramatic thing, and whatever team you have, they're going to be downsized. We all know that the team is going to be smaller at the end of the story. The fun comes in is not knowing how they're going to disappear and not knowing when and which ones. And in homage to my personal beliefs about violence, no one actually dies in the story, but they do leave the team in a variety of fun and I think really interesting ways that involves them disappearing into the store in different ways. So when we get to the end, when they confront the CEO, the team is much smaller, and what happens then is the real turning point of the book.
Well, to say that this book is cleverly written is an understatement. It truly is a work of art, a comedy satire blended with a science fiction and fantasy, guaranteed to take you on the adventure of a lifetime. It's highly recommended. And you know who says that? Susan Keefe, Midwest Book Review and Columbia Book Review. And she gives it 5 stars, Phil. You've got some heavies on your side with this, mate. You do draw from your career background. You know, I mean, it's quite interesting, including roles such as a project geologist. You were a production artist, web producer, and improvisational comedian. So I guess if you combine these experiences to bring the reader, your first book, which is called The Mart of Darkness, unusual name, Mart of Darkness. Phil, it was during a stint as a graphic artist for marketing agencies that you noticed something that actually sparked the thought for this book in the first place. Is that right?
Yeah, I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but it's totally worth revisiting. So direct marketing is interesting because there's this Zen quality to it. So these people spend their lives, again, they're brilliant, creative, as talented as any creative team I've ever met. And they send out these mailings and 99% of it goes in the trash. But there's that 1% where something happens. So there's this sense of hope. And again, they were talking about this buying power, this mystical force. And I just thought that was brilliant. I just thought that I needed to explore this. And then all the other physics that I learned, all the other, technology that I learned, and certainly, the principles of comedy that I learned doing improvisational comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Spent a lot of time in Britain, by the way. I wanted to bring that all together, and it really ferments is the word I like to use. It fermented for a number of years, and the book got written.
Well, there you go. See, all those skills, I mean, they weren't wasted. I mean, you go through life doing all these different things and you wonder where on earth and how am I going to utilize all this stuff? You know what I mean? And I mean, you're right. It was gurgitating in there, and next minute it comes out as a work of art, according to Jessica DeFino. She's a popular educator, folks, and a writer. She gave Granchi 5 stars as well. She says it's skillfully written. Satire shows humanity at its best and worst, giving readers the chance to both laugh and to consider the global trajectory of humanity. Humor is the dime that the story turns on, keeping it from, becoming overly preachy or moralistic, even while inviting the reader to consider where we're all going and who we are becoming. You mostly wanted people to laugh reading this book. That was the goal, was it not?
It was indeed. So I was educated by nuns, which just did not involve a ton of laughter. There were some laughs involved, but I wanted to. I guess I was raised with ideas of what humanity can be, and I think I'll take that as a positive there. And so I
Yeah.
wanted to write. I wanted to write and bring these ideas of where we're going, the trajectory of humanity, and do it in a way that allowed people to laugh about themselves and how we all do participate. I mean, we're all in it. Every one of us are participating in this consumer society. But if we could, nudge the paradigm rather than actually shift it, and everyone thinks a little bit differently next time they go into a store, maybe we can change things in 20, 30 years. Maybe. That's my hope.
Well, this was in mind, of course, before COVID. And, we talk about going into stores and we talk about now online an awful lot. You wonder if it will change. We just don't know when and what that change is going to look like. Along with that, we're all on the planet together, as you say. So, at the end of the day, Phil, no matter what, we all need each other, don't we? Now, the Mart of Darkness, okay, that's your first book. As a doctor with a busy career in practice, what made you decide to write fiction?
I've always wanted to write fiction, and I would think that I would say quite without any equivocation that going into medicine was actually the day job that I knew that I needed. I know a lot of a lot of writers struggle. Most artists struggle in some way. It's the rare one that does it, and I applaud them. But I started writing fiction when I was in the fifth grade. I wrote a short story. And I think I caught the buzz then. People laughed and they thought it was interesting. It got published in a literary journal. I thought, well, I'm hooked. But reality came into mind. I had some faceplant, artistic endeavors along the way. And at the end of the day, I thought I'd use education and my education and get a degree and work for a longer time and take care of myself.
Yeah, tell us about yourself a little now. The degree in which area of your medicine world?
So I'm a radiologist, and radiology actually grew out of. So along the way, I mentioned I spent a lot of time working with technology, and radiologists do spend a lot of. There's a lot of technology involved, but also there was a sense of the idea of looking inside people and really, I do literally look inside people's bodies, and there's something compelling about that from the medical standpoint of really being able to figure out what's going on with people and problem solving. So that was all very satisfying. And at the end of the day, I do like what I do, but it also gives me freedom to write, and I'm happy for that.
There you go. It's called There's Nothing Like a Good Book, and you're listening to The Mark Bishop Show. My special guest, Phil Granchi. This is his first book. It's called Mart of Darkness, M-A-R-T, of Darkness. Unusual because it's an unusual book, believe me, but you're going to love it. I mean, it combines insights from physics, psychology, economics, and marketing with the framework of satiric comedy. Put all that lot together. I mean, it takes a brain or two to even do that. What kind of research did you do, really, Phil, to help you bring insights from these various disciplines all to life in your story?
Well, at the end of the day, Mark, it was just showing up for work at a lot of these jobs. I learned a lot working as a pizza delivery driver when I was in college, and some of that what I learned there shows up. But then, working as a geologist and working in technology and working in marketing, I worked for a dotcom, so I learned a lot about internet and information exchange and. There's a lot of stuff that's floating around there that coalesced is a good word. It just all came together.
You've had quite a career journey, as we've touched on. I was going to ask you, can you share a bit more about the path? But maybe let's go this way. In many different jobs, there's different roles you do, right? I mean, they're all different little skills. And they've helped you along your career path. Was there anything specific that you did in these jobs that spark ideas for you that I know, you've touched on what led you to the writing of the Mart of Darkness, but was there any other help that you got, do you think, from some of these various roles?
Well, absolutely.
And the reason I ask you this is because if there's any young budding artists, writers listening, wake up, smell the roses, and look around you and see what you can draw from, is where I'm trying to go here.
Well, I couldn't agree more. That's absolutely the case. One of the very early things I learned about writers is that the writers that I really admired the most, and of course that changes as we grow, had gone out and taken themselves to extremes, to physical and emotional, to give themselves experience to write. And another thing that I recognized is that they also used whatever it was, however mundane it was, right? However, we can look at it and go, oh my gosh, I am so depressed working in this fast food restaurant, handing these people these tacos. Okay, so you can be depressed about that, but that can be the emotional point of view from which to start a great story. And I learned that you have to use, as a writer, everything. There's nothing you should discard as an artist that informs you and moves you, that won't also inform and move other people, because we are universal. You said it earlier, Mark. We're all connected. And writers seek to share experiences with others. And if you share an authentic experience, it will be received as such, and then that's art. And I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, very true. So how did you decide to use the basic story arcs of Heart of Darkness and Apocalypse Now as the narrative backdrop, to explore your ideas that would eventually become Heart of Darkness?
Well, so that's the idea that I've loved Apocalypse Now for a long time. And of course, that was, a retelling of Heart of Darkness. And just to quick recap, it's, the story of this journey of a person going into the wilderness, seeking to confront madness and encountering their own madness along the way. So what greater metaphor for humanity? We live in, everyone decides, oh, our society's crazy. Well, it's making us crazy too. So I really wanted to explore those ideas. And I thought, because those are pretty dark books. I mean, Apocalypse Now does not laugh out loud funny, but
Uh-huh.
but I wanted to use humor. I wanted to do it in a light way, which was more accessible.
Even this picture that I'm looking at makes me giggle. The Heart of Darkness sweatshirt or T-shirt you've got on when more is not enough. A novel by Phil Granchi. It's quite funny. It's this shot's going to be on my site, folks, so you can see this and have a giggle. Plus all of the details in reference to where this book is available. The author's website is just so you know, www.allmartstores. That's ALLMARTSTORES.com. So it's all one word. Wait on, Mark. Let me get a pen. Okay. www.allmartstores.com. And of course, Amazon in Kindle and in paperback as well. Now, Phil, you've had an extensive background in both science and comedy. Can you talk about how your experiences in these fields impacted the writing of your first novel, Heart of Darkness?
Well, yeah. As a scientist, as a geologist, we have to study physics, right? And then of course, in medicine, I had to study physiology, and I got to the point of really looking across the spectrum of the human existence. And you can start with your hand and your brain, and you go down deep enough to a subatomic level, and suddenly all that's left is probability, right? In
Right.
the quantum world. So that's kind of interesting. You're like, what do I do with that, right? So again, I wanted to take those ideas, this idea of what are we, literally, what are we, what are we in the universe, and then take that and the comedy show that I did was called Modern Problems in Science, which was a completely improvised university lecture. So I took ideas of science and did comedic things with them. So I wanted to combine those efforts, and that led to the book.
Tell us about that show at uni. How did that work? Was it a one-man thing?
No, I actually performed with two other comedians, a comedian named Rich Fulcher, who may be familiar to British TV fans and Comedy Central fans, and a chap named Dick Costello, who was formerly the CEO of Twitter. I knew them from Chicago when we started improvising together and put together a show that we toured around the world
How about
to
that?
comedy festivals. It was great.
Did you ever go to my home country, Australia?
I did. We did the Adelaide Comedy Festival, and we did the Melbourne Comedy Festival in
Yeah,
the late
they're both
90s.
big. They're both big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're big time if you make them.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good, mate. So, what ideas do you think, Phil, about the current state of the world? Do you hope that your book, The Mart of Darkness, will inspire the reader, to consider?
Well, this certainly the recognition that, and again, so we could go to the quantum world and we could recognize, I got to be honest, there's a lot of different religious beliefs, there's a lot of different like psychological beliefs, but at the end of the day, all of us are connected. deep within the physical world, we're continuous and we see differences in each other, but we're all connected. I want people to really attempt to get their head around that, and then to recognize that because of that, everything we do, every little thing, right, impacts each other. And that includes our buying and selling. What we consume is so impactful to the world. If we could maybe for a second change how we behave in that world, humanity might have a chance to change and become something different we can't expect.
Well, in that case, how can humor and satire serve as a tool for reflection and a way of staying hopeful, in the midst of dark and difficult times that we are and have been and still most likely to go through?
Well, I think it's the best way. Again, I have to go back to the nuns a little bit, and of course, you have a nun wagging her, crooked finger at you, her glasses, so that doesn't work a lot for changing one's behavior. But so I'd rather use humor. I instead of laying down heavy-handed, preachiness that doesn't work for me, and it probably doesn't work for most people. I thought, well, let's just send it up. Let's laugh about this together. In the same way that you're sitting around a dinner table and you've got your crotchety uncle who believes that, and the nephew who believes something else, and they're going at it. Someone tells a joke, then everyone realizes, oh yeah, we're a family and we're in it together.
Yeah, more than ever we need laughter, don't we, huh? More than ever right now. Phil Granchi, do you have any more books in the works, without sort of letting the worms out of the can, so to speak? Or do you think there could ever possibly be a sequel, dare I ask, to The Mart of Darkness?
Absolutely. It's in process now. I recognize that at the end of it, that I so many questions were unanswered that I needed to go there, and we need to go back in there. Kay's going to have to go back into that story whether he likes it or not and find out some more things. So we're going for that.
The Mart of Darkness. It's hard to do an interview and not give away the book, right? Because you don't want to get too much into the story, because why buy the darn thing, The Mart of Darkness, I mean, you're going to laugh, and you're going to laugh, all right? But you're going to relate to things. From what I read of it, it made me think of things today, And when you compare that with Misery, and you don't want to go down that road, and you need a bit of an uplift, this is a good book to do that with. I think make a good gift too. The Mart of Darkness and Granchi's comedic genius deliver perfectly timed humour to counter the darkness of this last year, 18 months. Now, whether you're an adventure buff, maybe you're a sci-fi lover, maybe you enjoy satire, or you're just in need of a good book that'll keep you laughing, Mart of Darkness, it hits the spot. Can I say grab your copy today? And
please.
Where can I get it?
allmartstores.com, I think is the best way to go, because that'll give you a taste of the book, and it'll lead you right to where you can buy it.
Okay, allmartstores.com. And it's not expensive, is it?
No. $19.99 retail price.
By gee, there's some joint your coffee costs that, that.
Yeah.
Amazon in Kindle and paperback, and if you don't know the other one, it's HTTPS. All right, HTTPS ... then colons and then www.allmartstores.com. That's the best way to go, or Amazon, I guess. But you got to get online and do that. And if you can't, get someone to do it for you, allmartstores.com. But it'll be on my site, which everybody goes to, and all the authors are there in their special segment and so on, okay, on markbishopmedia.com. And it'll be there forever. And, of course, you're most welcome to write, and I'll pass on things, or write to him directly. Do you like that? Do you like people to write to you, Phil, about your books and so on, or your first one?
Absolutely. Please do write. There's going to be a contact link on the website that'll be active. It'll come to my email.
Oh, that's good. That's great. Who did the artwork? You?
I ran an online contest on a design website and got some really interesting submissions from around the world, and that was the clear winner. We loved it. Everyone loves it. It makes us laugh to look at.
Yeah, it is good. It made me laugh, mate. Yeah. I thought it's terrific. Well, man, I tell you what, you've brightened my day up, buddy, and I wish you so much, so all the good luck in the world with this, the sales, and it's your very first book. I mean, it's nothing better, I would imagine, as a writer for your very first book to do well,
Well, thank you. I'm I'm looking forward to writing more. I love to connect with people. I love to entertain people, and I hope we can all maybe learn something because of it.
There we go. The Mart of Darkness. Well, Mart of Darkness, right? Phil Granchi. He's a comedic genius and done many, many other things, and a geologist and a doctor and God knows what else of radiology. And he would love you to get into his first book and enjoy it with him. And he'd look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, Phil. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me.